Well, today is the day, D-Day or whatever you want to call it. I have to tell you, this process that began a little over a month ago, we live in a great city, and I've always known that, and I've learned even more about it over the last month. And to see all of the things that some of us just take for granted, to know what Pittsburgh has and to see it, things we walk past every day, whether it's the incline or the Cathedral of Learning, and I could list dozens and dozens of things. The collaboration that came together to do this was tremendous. I almost feel like when you, going back to college, I used that analogy the other day, when you study for a test and you know when you take that test you did well. And I know that the proposal that we put together is we did very well. We're going to get an A. And it's because of all of the great things that we have in this region that we can sell to Amazon. And this wasn't just something that came together in a little more than a month. This is something we have been doing and working on for years. As the mayor says, 30 years. Whether it's the talent and innovation that we've been developing, whether it's the great neighborhoods, whether it's the great sites that we have been preparing, the affordability that we have, the amenities and quality of life around parks and trails and arts and culture, et cetera, is just tremendous. Just today, there was another announcement. There was another announcement that Boeing, they're from Seattle, you might want to make a note, signed a long-term agreement with Near Earth Autonomy, another spin-off company doing autonomous airplanes. We know about the autonomous vehicles that are driving around our city, and now there's just another partner. So this continued growth and success of Pittsburgh is going to continue, and it has been. And this would be a great partnership to just continue that along. We'll be answering questions. We're going to have Stephanie Pashman and obviously my partner, Mayor Peduto, on this. But Stephanie has really brought together, as the leader of the Allegheny Conference, all of the partners that she represents from the corporate community, our universities, our philanthropic, our foundation community, and all 10 counties and beyond who have been part of this. So let me introduce Stephanie Pashman. Stephanie.
Good morning. Thank you, Rich. So as Rich said, this was absolutely a collaborative effort. And I think in the spirit of Pittsburgh, in the spirit of the region, and in the spirit of the Allegheny Conference, that's what we do. We do collaboration. And so when this proposal opportunity presented itself, we immediately called into action our key partners in the foundation community, the university community, our partners in the 10-county region, our business, and of course our corporate leadership, along with our civic leaders and our government leaders, to make sure that we could put forward our best foot. And I will tell you, having read this proposal, that it gives me chills to look at the amazing things happening in Pittsburgh throughout all these sectors. What's even more significant is that while we sell a world-class talent pool, we sell a high quality of life, a good way to live, low cost of living, a collaborative business environment and community, what's even more significant is that we also are going to give Amazon a way to come to our city with a welcome mat that makes sense through the Allegheny Conference. We've created a new entity that's going to be available to them to make sure that this is an experience that makes it Pittsburgh their headquarters and their home in a very easy and efficient way, and brings to bear our collaborative spirit of the region. So with that, I'd like to pass it on to the mayor, who can help you understand a little more about this experience.
Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks, Rich. This is it. So, future forged for all. That's our goal. And in this, there are a couple of books that explain in detail our proposal. Just like Coach Tomlin, who doesn't share his strategy book before a game, we will not be sharing our strategy book before Amazon has made a decision. But let me say this, Kevin, you can put it back in the vault.
Yeah, guard that now.
This is what's in there as well. It's a proposal that comes with a very unique ability to blend the talent that we are able to provide to Amazon with the locations and the sites that they can be here, with the cultural amenities, the natural amenities, the things that they are looking for in a new urbanist environment, in a cost of living that can't be beat. It also provides another critical component that with our conversations with Amazon we learned, and that is that they want to see how they will benefit all. It's not simply about what we can give them, but how can they come to a region and that region will be benefited. Things that we're already working on, like affordable housing and education, will be enhanced by their presence. And in a proposal that was put together with not only corporate leadership and civic leadership, but down to the nonprofits that serve all people in providing workforce development and training for all to be a part of it as well. These are critical components that Amazon asked for. And yes, they asked for bike lanes. So we also have bike lanes to offer them too. So I leave it at that, and just if we can answer some questions, and I hope you understand why we're not going to be able to get completely specific. It's for the same reason that no city is being completely specific at this point. We are in a competition. I feel our chances are very good. I can say that I feel that we are considered to be one of the front runners. And as Rich said, this isn't something that was put together over a month. This has been something that has been put together over decades. This is the work of everybody who believed in Pittsburgh at a time when most people said we were dead. And they never gave up. And they kept moving forward. And they rolled their sleeves up and they worked. And all we did is put it together into a book to show Amazon why we're the obvious choice.
Questions? Open up. Can you talk at all about what kind of incentives we're offering? I know you can't talk about numbers, but what are the types of things we're offering, tax breaks, et cetera?
What I will say is that the state and the Governor Wolf, has been very helpful. And the legislature, yeah, both sides, all four caucuses basically came together. As the mayor said, we're not going to give away those details. That is a competitive process. But the one thing I think we can say is that the incentives are based on deliverables, meaning not just giving out tax incentives and hoping that the jobs come here, but after the jobs and the economic impact is delivered to this region, then the tax credits or tax breaks or whatever you want to say it will occur after that.
Is it more than just tax breaks, though? Or are we talking about property, grants, services?
I think it's a partnership. It's what the mayor talked about.
It's comprehensive.
Affordable housing, workforce development, infrastructure, transportation, all the things that we can work on together. It's not just a check or a dollar figure that you could put on that thing that Kevin's hiding.
Let me add one other point to it too. The idea is that we don't just offer a grant or a tax incentive to Amazon, but that would then also be able to fund the parts that we're talking about benefiting all. That there's a component of it that would help us so that we do have a workforce that would be able to be ready for these jobs, that we are investing in affordable housing and quality of life for this region. But what's more important than any incentive that on a financial is the cost of living combined with the talent that we have. There is no other city in this country that has the talent that Amazon is looking for with the cost of living we have. So no matter what the incentive other cities can offer, when you look at healthcare costs, when you look at the cost of energy, when you look at the cost of land, when you look at workforce costs, those costs over a 20-year period are greater than any incentive that any city can offer. So we will not be the greatest incentive or the greatest proposal for financial incentive, but we can more than make it up in the cost of living and the quality of talent that they have here.
Will the proposal become public at any point down the road?
So at this point, we're all under a non-disclosure agreement, both from Amazon as well as from the state around it. And our intent is to share as much as we can with the community as the project unfolds, and we'll be having to take guidance from the outside entities, the government, and also Amazon, but we also want to ensure we're as competitive as possible. So we'll have to see how this plays out.
What have they told you about the timetable? When are you going to hear something?
Well, I think the important thing is, I think a lot of people think today is the end, or it's all over. Really, in many ways, this is the beginning. And what we're also going to say is this is a call for Pittsburghers, all Pittsburghers, to use social media. And we're going to talk about the website and how people can go on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and talk about the great things that Pittsburgh has. So this is a big decision for them. For HQ2, this is a decision that's going to impact not just this region or any region that's successful, but Amazon for decades. So they want to take their time and be very judicious in going through this. So I don't know that we have a real roadmap. That's up to them. I'm assuming they'll pick some sort of short list, and then maybe after that there will be site visits and other things. So
That's exactly it. So there will be the list that will be narrowed down, and then over the course of the next year. And that's really where this becomes important too. HQ2Pittsburgh.com. HQ2Pittsburgh.com is the opportunity for all Pittsburghs to say why they're here. Whether it was by divine providence and you were born here, or whether it was something that you chose. Why are you in Pittsburgh? Why is your company in Pittsburgh? And why should Amazon be in Pittsburgh as well? So we're looking for people to be the voice of Pittsburgh in this. We have an amazing video that was produced that captures that spirit of Pittsburgh. But we want to be able, over the course of this next year, to have all of us working together. I can say this, that over the course of this past month, or whatever time that's been, county executive Stephanie and I have been blessed with an amazing staff. Jen and Kevin and folks like Chris Hines, Bill Demchek, all stood up. They all said, we want to be a part of this. And we had an incredible amount of talent that was homegrown talent that led the consultants. But none of that would have been possible if we didn't have a spirit of cooperation. If there wasn't a true and real ability for us to work together, and that is another competitive advantage that we have in this. As you look around and see other cities, it's going to be hard pressed to find the type of camaraderie that we have been able to demonstrate through this project, and something that Amazon will understand that is the Pittsburgh way.
Why do you think that Pittsburgh ranks? There are a number of lists that have come out, who's strong and who's in the running. Pittsburgh is top 5 in some, and in other lists, we're not on the list. Why do you think that is?
Everybody running. I think these lists have a lot of subjectivity, and a lot of people don't know all the assets of not just Pittsburgh, but every city. So on some, they think a metric is important, that you want to be near a, quote, big city, like in New York City or in LA. And obviously, we don't have that kind of level of population that's here. For others, it'll be affordability, as the mayor said. There's no better city in this competition that has the value of talent and affordability and a quality of life and amenities that we have. We stack up higher than anybody. So, but if you want to be in a city that's got 8 million people, then we're not going to make that list. It's going to be New York, Chicago, LA. But if you're looking a little broader, so I think the subjectivity of how different organizations, whether it's Forbes or CNN or Moody's or whoever puts these lists together, the Wall Street Journal, they all come with a little bit different issues of what they think. Some of them have picked cities on the West Coast. Other cities, other folks have said, no, they want to be east of, the eastern part of the U.S. So I think it's a pretty subjective operation on that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of speculation about what's in Amazon's mind, and I think what we had to do here is just say, this is our story. It's all true, it's all what we're about, and it really helped us all come together and provide a rallying cry, something that we almost didn't even need. But we told our story, and I think our story is going to resonate with them. But only time will tell to see what's really in the mind of Amazon and what they're looking for.
Can you talk about any of the changes changes you're prepared to make should we be selected, specifically with things like transportation?
Well, I think that's a good part right now is we're already investing in a BRT. We're improving our transportation system between, our university, the Innovation District, as Brookings labeled it, in our downtown area. We're investing in our airport. We're investing in brand new technology, the next generation, and I think Amazon being a future-looking company, which obviously they have been, we fit right in. As the mayor said, we've been preparing for innovation and moving forward for decades, and that just continues with transportation, with workforce, with affordable housing, a lot of things that they're looking for, we're already doing them. We're on the path already to doing a lot of these things. Amazon would allow us to accelerate that.
What can you do to try to lessen the dramatic spike in housing and rental costs that have occurred in Seattle as a result of there was a study that just came out today saying that housing prices in Pittsburgh, rental prices will increase 1.6% a year with Amazon's headquarters. That's on top of whatever.
We have a unique situation in Pittsburgh. Unlike Seattle, we have 17,000 in the city of Pittsburgh vacant and blighted houses. We have areas that have seen no growth for 50 years. No growth. Not one house being built. Complete neighborhoods that have seen the reduction of almost 70% of its population. Seattle didn't face those types of challenges. What we have is an opportunity to use this as a catalyst to see economic growth and development in parts of this city and parts of this region that have seen none. To be able to recognize areas and create incentive programs like the Affordable Housing Trust Fund that can be complemented with additional funds. We will and are being proactive in these issues now. With Amazon, we would be able to provide even more resources to critical programs. As we look to create a pre-K for all 3- and 4-year-olds within the city, the opportunity to having Amazon and the revenue that would be generated would help to make sure that that would become a reality. There are so many societal benefits that would be offset by this, that those that would be considered potential threats of increased housing can be offset by development and growth in areas that have seen nothing.
Can we possibly build fast enough to accommodate what they want? I mean, it took 3 years to build the PNC headquarters, and we have thousands of laborers working on other big projects in the region, so how are we going to get it done?
So we are at a very, very beneficial point in this city's history. We have areas of, large areas of real estate that have already had the infrastructure built, or the infrastructure is going in presently to be able to build immediately. We have day one type of availability in downtown and in other areas that they would potentially look in to be able to move into immediately, right now, today. And we have the opportunity to look at scattered site development all over. Is almost like the a la carte menu to a menu, to be able to see that as well. The opportunities have been here for generations. We've done the investment that has been necessary to put in the infrastructure to make it so that it is development ready. And we have enough capacity for day one to be able to secure any location as of today.
Can you, other than El Mono, can you tell us what other areas where there's already infrastructure, where they're shovel ready?
Well, I think one of the great things that we have here is that those sites really have been ready. And when you think about some of the sites that you've written about, and there's dozens that are on there. You mentioned the Hazelwood Green, the old El Mono site that's been done the infrastructure, the streets are all put in, those type of things. Older buildings that are still available that can be used. And I think of one that comes off the top of my head is Westinghouse, the Westinghouse R&D Center out in Churchill that is, in large part vacant, but could be they could move into that very quickly. The Westinghouse site out in Monroeville. And you could go up and down the region, because while Pittsburgh has grown in some ways over the last few years, and by Pittsburgh I mean the region, we still have some older industrial sites that haven't gotten there just yet. So as the mayor said, we could ramp up fairly quickly places, buildings that folks could move into. And as Pittsburghers, back to the previous question, when we pull together, which we have in this instance, we can get things done, and we can get things done pretty quickly.
How should we view how the airport's positioned against other cities, given, sometimes limited flights to and from places like Seattle?
That's something, as we talked about, the airport is growing and heading in the right direction. I'm very confident that at some point we will have some of those flights that we need, and those announcements hopefully will be made as we go through this process. But the fact is, the way Christina and her team have continued to develop, just making the announcement with Qatar last week on air cargo, along with the fact that we've had over an 80% increase in destinations, and there will be more to come, that they're investing in next-gen technology at the airport. I feel very confident. And we have some sites out there, too. We have an awful lot of land that also could be available for Amazon to utilize. So, again, I think they will see that we're investing in the future. We're not just looking backwards and woe is me, there used to be a hub here, but we're realizing where the market is going, and what Christina and her team have done out there have really taken us to the next level.
When I was in Seattle, one of the people I talked to suggested that you hold off on any sort of contraction of that airport until Amazon makes a decision about that.
There is not a contraction of the airport going on. What is happening is, when the airport was built, it's actually an expansion of the airport that's going to be occurring, because when the airport was built, it was built with a land side and an air side. The air side was built for 30 million people because that was a hub of people connecting through the air side. On land side, which was just Pittsburghers traveling, it was only built for 4 million people. So that's why when there's 7 or 8 million people a year going through there now, you have long lines in airside that were TSA, and the changes that happened after 9/11 have made people wait a long time in the morning when you go out for an early flight. So what they're doing is right-sizing. The fact is, going through TSA, going through the checkpoints, and making sure that we're in a good spot. So I think they're doing the right thing with the airport, and making it more efficient, lowering the cost. The cost is going to go down from $12.70 to $9.70 for in-plane passengers, and the airlines, who in essence really pay the bills at the airport, have been the ones who have been pushing for this and signed off on it.
Well, even if we end up, let's say Amazon picks another city, does having this collaborative effort over the last month help position Pittsburgh and Allegheny County for attracting other potential major moves in the future?
Absolutely. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what I think we've all been seeing through this process, is that we've all come together many, many times, and we do all the time in Pittsburgh, and so we can solve kind of any problem that it takes. But more importantly, now that we have this package put together, it's something we do every day at the Allegheny Conference, is attract businesses, and we just have a stronger story to tell, and a much better way, I think, to attract any business that wants to come here. More importantly, I think we see this Amazon opportunity as a way, if Amazon were to come here, it would obviously propel a lot of growth for the greater region in terms of supply chain opportunities and additional businesses, I think, that could want to kind of ride the wave of Amazon with them.
We have to wrap up, but we'll be available afterwards for extra comment. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.